Corrie ten Boom was the first female watchmaker in Europe. But that's not what she was known for. During it's hard to say, World War II, she and her family had over 700 Jews and Jewish sympathizers in their home and helped them escape the horrors the Nazis planned for them. We all know that. That's a true story. Corrie, her sister Betsy, and father were eventually caught, sent to prison where her father died, and to a concentration camp where her sister died. Corrie was released and told her story of intrigue, pain and suffering, and forgiveness, all through God's strength. After the presentation, again, Corrie will answer questions. Let's listen on this fascinating story with Dee Collier portraying Corrie ten Boom. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you very much for inviting me to come and be with you today. It is a pleasure. I get to share about my life. So many exciting things have happened here. My name is Corrie ten Boom, and I grew up in Haarlem, Holland, the youngest of 4 children. My parents, Cornelia, was named for my mother, and Casper ten Boom. And in Haarlem, a beautiful, beautiful place. Any of you been to Holland? Some of you know what a beautiful place I was born in. Well, in Haarlem, a lot of the shopkeepers had their stores on the bottom floor, and they lived in the floors above. That's the way that we were. I lived in a very old house. Actually, it had been 2 old small houses that joined together over the years, and many others. Now, my father was a watchmaker and had his watch shop on the bottom floor. And by the time that World War II broke out, my mother, Cornelia, had passed away. My oldest brother, my only brother, Willem, had married and moved away. And my sister Nolly, older sister Nolly, had already married and moved away. So living at home at the beginning of that war was just my father, my sister Betsy, and me. We felt very safe, though, even though there was a war going on. For over 100 years, and throughout Europe, Holland had stayed neutral. We just assumed that would be the same thing again, and the war would not come to our streets. One night, my sister Betsy, my father, and I, all the time, every night we listened to the radio. Well, one night, the Dutch Prime Minister came on the radio, and he said, "You have nothing to fear. I have spoken with the people involved in this war. They tell me that we can remain neutral again." This lady was laughing, and she should, because yeah, exactly. My father chuckled too, and he looked at Betsy and me, and he said, "I don't think that is right. The Dutch Prime Minister is wrong. I feel like we will be invaded by the Germans, and we will be defeated by them." That very night, my sister Betsy and I were awakened with sounds of explosions. It was the Germans. They had invaded without provocation. And so Betsy and I and Father were very concerned about what would happen next, as well we should be. It wasn't long before our streets were overrun with German soldiers. They made rules for us. For example, they said that there had to be no newspapers except their newspapers. They went house to house, confiscating radios. Secretly, we hid one in one of the stairs. Now, why do you suppose that no newspaper and no radio? Yeah. This is a very smart lady. I would like to take you everywhere I go. You figure that out. Very good, yes, smart. That is true. And they also made the rules that we had to have a ration card to be able to purchase food. We had to go to the ration card office and tell how many people were in our home. There were 3 of us. We only got the 3 issuing of ration cards. They also said that there were going to be curfews. Curfews got earlier and earlier until no one could go outside after 6 p.m. That meant I had to stop the clubs I had started for young ladies, 12 to 18 years old, where I taught them music and hiking and camping and gymnastics. Oh, it does not look much like it now, but at one time was pretty good at gymnastics. The thing I hated to stop the most was a club in the evening for mentally challenged young people, where I taught them they could go to God in prayer any time they wanted. They could talk to Him about anything that was bothering them. So none of those clubs could be taking place. there seemed like the Germans had a special hatred for certain groups of people. One of them was the Jews. We didn't understand that. We had many friends who were Jews. We had shopkeepers on the street. We had other friends that were Jews. We loved them. They were our friends. But they had to go to the police station and register that they were Jews, and then to wear the Star of David on their clothing anytime they went out. Why do you suppose the Germans did that? Easily, oh, this whole row, very, very smart here, I believe. They had, yes. Is that not sad and terrible? We did not understand that at all. They also were targeting other people, and one Sunday afternoon, our young people were on the streets together. How you call that? Hang out together? Yeah, that. And the German soldiers came and they took all those young men and took them away. Some of them we never saw again. Those young people, those young men, we understand, were taken to Germany and were taught to be slaves in the factories in Germany. And our poor Jewish friends, like Mr. Weil, right across the street from us. Mr. Weil had a fur store. He sold furs there. And one rainy November 1941, my sister Betsy and my father and I were working down in my father's watch shop, and we knew that there was something going on across the street. We heard glass breaking, looked out the window. It was the German soldiers had gone to Mr. Weil's shop, smashed the windows there, taken all of his furs, took Mr. Weil and threw him in the muddy streets. Oh, we couldn't let him stay there. He was our friend. So after the soldiers left, we went out, we got Mr. Weil, brought him inside, helped him get dried off, but what were we supposed to do with him? My brother, Willem, had a big house out in the countryside in Hilversum. He had been helping German Jews escape, come to his house briefly, and that he had found passage for them either to America or to England. So I called his house. He wasn't home, but my 22-year-old nephew, Keek, Christian, we all called him Keek. Keek said, Auntie Corey, you have Mr. Weil ready this evening as soon as it gets dark, and we'll take care of him. Well, that night, about 9 o'clock, knock at the door. It was Keek. I watched as he took Mr. Weil They hugged the shadows of the buildings and walked out of sight. A couple of weeks later, I saw Keek and I said, "Hey, Keek, what happened to Mr. Vielle?" I said, "Auntie Corey, if you're going to have the Dutch underground, don't ask any questions." Well, I guess my sister Betsy and I officially were helping the Dutch underground. It's especially exciting for two old spinsters in our 50s. So we were able to go to a meeting very soon after that of the Dutch underground. And at that meeting, we were introduced to everybody in the room as either Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith. Why do you suppose they introduced like that? Anonymity. Nice big word there. Very good. That is true. And at the end of it, the architect named Mr. Well, came to me and he says, "I understand you have an interesting house. I understand more and more Jews are coming to your house. Here is an idea. Maybe we can build a false room in your house somewhere." So he came to our house and he walked all over it and he said, "Interesting twists and turns with two old houses put together." He said, "I think I found the perfect spot right up there. It's the last bedroom." My bedroom. "I think we'll build a false wall." He did. He made the outside of it look as old and stained as all the other walls in my bedroom. And at the bottom, it was about 4 feet long and maybe 30 inches deep. The bottom was a panel that inside was a pulley to come and pull that up so that our guests, as we call the Jews that were in our home from time to time, and they could get in there and stay there and be safe because the German soldiers were in my father's watch shop all the time. They had watches that needed to be fixed. So this angel room, as we called that, and I have pictures up here if you would care to see the angel room. What we did was very clever. This picture right here, it's just a brand of watches. And to let the Jews know it was safe to come in, this would be in the window of my father's watch shop. If it was out of the window, that meant their German soldiers were in his watch shop. A very good symbol for them to be able to see that and know when it was safe. Well, how was I going to feed them? Only 3 ration cards. I had to be able to feed them. So I prayed, oh dear God, show me how can I feed them, because more and more kept coming to our house. Just then, he helped me remember Fred Koenstra. Fred Koenstra's daughter had been in one of the clubs I had for the young ladies. Fred Koenstra worked in the ration card office. Could he help me? Would he help me? People were turning each other in all the time to get better food or a more successful job. Would he do that to me? I didn't know. All I knew was I had to help the Jews. They're God's chosen people. So I went to Fred's house one night after dark. He saw me at the door, pulled me inside and said, Corey, don't you ask about those ration cards. No way for me or anybody to get you ration cards. The numbers are lined up every day. They're counted over and over. No way, unless there's a robbery. I think I know just the man. The next time I saw Fred, I passed him on the street. He handed me 100 ration cards. Is God still in the miracle business? Yes. My story is full of miracles. He loves those chosen people. He loves us all very much. I was able to not only help people that were coming to our home, but people in the Dutch underground as well. They had taught me how to get a government car, official government papers. We were helping each other. Many of them I knew well, and I knew they weren't Mr. or Mrs. Smith. But anyway, the Dutch underground was alive and well in Haarlem, Holland. February 1945, I had a terrible case of the flu, fever, sick to my stomach, body aches, but I wanted to get those watches of the German soldiers finished. So I was working still in my father's watch shop trying to get them done. And a man came in that I did not know. I felt strange about this man. Have you ever felt strange about some people? You just don't think something's not right. Well, I thought it was because I had the flu. But this man, he said, oh, Corey, you've got to help me. My wife is a Jew, he said. My wife has been taken to the police station, but I found one of the police officers. I can bribe him for 600 guilders. I don't have that much money. Corey, can you help me? 600 guilders is over 1,000 of your dollars, and I did not have that kind of money around me. So I said, come back in about an hour, maybe. Let me see if I can round up the money you need. Had to help God's chosen people. So he left. I got the money rounded up. He came back. I gave him the money, and then I left to go upstairs. I was still so very, very sick. Now, Mr. Smith, the architect, not only built that false wall, he built something else. Buzzers. He put 2 buzzers down in my father's watch shop that made no noise down there, but they only made noise upstairs, so that if we had our guests, the Jews, for maybe 5 at a time, had to go into the angel room, but they had to practice. As soon as they came to our house, they had to practice going from whatever they were doing to get into the angel room in 1 minute or less. For example, if they were eating a meal, scrape plates, wash plates, stick them in the cabinet. If they were sleeping, they had to flip the mattress over so you're not feeling any warm spots. And practice it over and over until they could get in the angel room 1 minute or less. So that day that man I felt strangely about, I had just gotten upstairs and was lying down in my bed, and I heard the German soldiers not just walk in like they did to get their watches fixed, but I heard them screaming and yelling and slamming doors. Where are the Jews? We know you got them hidden somewhere. Where are they? Where is your false room? Someone had told. So I just stayed in my bed, and I saw the guests, the Jews that were in our house right then, barely made it into the angel room when the German soldiers came into my bedroom. They grabbed me off the bed, picked me up and said, "Where are the Jews? Tell me." They began to beat me and slap me in the mouth. I could taste the blood in my mouth. And I cried out, "Oh, Jesus, help me." And the man said, "You say that name again and I will kill you." He threw me down on the bed. He went in and he started beating Betsy. Betsy, very, very smart lady. She acted like a crazy lady. She said, "Oh, the Jews, there they are under the table." Oh no, that is dust. No, they're up on the roof. I think there's Jews on the roof. Well, you could get up onto the roof. We would go there for fresh air. Nobody was there. And they slammed all the cabinets and broke look into everything, but all they found was a few ration cards, but that wasn't enough to get us arrested. And so my father, he's in his 80s. My sister Betsy and I were all taken down to the police station. As they were loading us onto the truck, the guard said to my father, "Old man, you can stay home. All you'll have to do is renounce that Jesus of yours." And he said, "If I renounce my Jesus, life will not be worth living." And so he took all of us. There were many people arrested that night. We were all sent to the police station where they were processing us. It was 9 o'clock. Every night at 9 o'clock, my father had prayer and Bible reading. Didn't have a Bible to read from, so he quoted from memory part of Psalm 119. "Oh Lord God, I lift you up. I will trust in you. I will trust in your word, and you will give me a shield." Oh, it gave us all confidence and comfort to hear those words right out of God's word. Well, we were sent the next day down to a prison in the south part of Holland that was near The Hague. And that prison, I still had the flu. They put me in a cell all by myself. The other prisoners were sent to cells. I could hear them going into cells along the hallway. We were not allowed to call to each other. I didn't know where my sister Betsy was, because I could not call out to her. We had to keep silence. In this one cell that where I was all by myself, very sick, there was a straw mattress on the floor and one blanket that someone had thrown up on. I got better gradually there. Oh, even though all we had to eat was maybe some thin porridge for breakfast and maybe some turnip soup for dinner and a slice of black bread. And I got better thanks to the nurse there. She smuggled in some things. If she had been caught, she could have been shot right there, or tortured, or all of them. She had put in her clothing a toothbrush, some soap, and pages ripped out of a Bible. Oh, what a blessing. That was so exciting to have those things. Another time, the warden came in to me, and the warden said, "You got a package from your sister Nolly." I was like, oh, I am so excited, Nolly. Oh, I didn't even know how in the world she knew exactly where I was. But I looked at it, and I looked at the stamp, and the stamp was crooked, and I thought I could see some writing underneath. So I pulled the stamp. Underneath it said, all watches in the cabinet are safe. What do you suppose that meant? The people in the angel room, that's right, were safe. What I heard later happened is they stayed in the angel room for a couple of days. The German soldiers were outside surrounding the house to see if the Jews came out, or anyone, or whatever they could do. The Germans came in, took anything of value, furniture, jewelry, all kinds of things. And after they left with their loot, then the Jews saw that they had gone and they were able to escape. What a blessing to know they were safe, all the watches in the cabinet. Well, I had to open it and see what it was my sister, Nolly, had sent me. Oh my goodness, inside was a red towel. My sister Nolly knows red is my favorite color. Then I could feel that there was something inside it. So I opened it up. Oh my goodness, it was biscuits. My sister Nolly makes the best biscuits ever. So I began to eat some of it, and a few crumbs fell on the floor. Concrete floor, big old cracks in the floor. And out of one of the cracks came a mouse, ate the crumbs, ran back in. I now had a friend I could talk to. I get lonesome, eat a little bit of this, and the crumbs brought the mouse out. The warden came by when she dropped this off. She says, your turn to be interrogated is coming up soon. You better tell them everything they want to know, or they just keep asking question after question after question until you do tell them what they want to know. When it came my turn for the interrogation, I was taken into a room with a Gestapo officer. He threw the Russian cards down on the table and said, can you explain these? I said, no, sir. All I know is that I was walking down the street and a man handed me Russian cards, which was the truth. You see, in the underground, we were taught how to answer questions without answering questions. And he says, I don't know that. I don't care. And then he said, tell me about all of your activities. So I told him all about the clubs I have for the young ladies, 12 to 18 years old. How I taught them music and hiking and camping and gymnastics. He said, I don't care about that either. Tell me more. He said, oh, and there was a club I had for the mentally challenged young people, where I taught them about God's love and that God had a purpose for their life. And He loves them. And I turned to the Gestapo officer and I said, God loves you too, and He has a purpose for your life. He slammed his fist down on the table and said, mentally challenged, they should all be killed. There's no purpose for them. They should all be done away with immediately. And I went, oh, no, sir. God has a purpose and loves them as much as He loves us. Just get out of here. I don't want to hear this anymore. So the next day I was brought back in. Guess what he wanted to know about that day? God's love and God's purpose for a person's heart and life. And I told him all about that. And then he said, I have these papers here. Look at them, explain them. They were names and addresses, real names and addresses of the people who were working in the Dutch underground. With tears welling up in my eyes, I said, no, sir, I cannot explain them. He did something I will never forget. He took those papers and threw them in the fire. Those people would be saved. Another miracle. But God had to tender his heart first. And then he was able to do that. He did not have the power to free me. He said that he would if he could. He also told me that my father had passed away. He had only been there about 10 days, and he died. I know he is with Jesus. I will see him again one day. The warden came to us and said, we're moving you, and to everybody else. I heard her shouting down the hall. You're going to be moved to another prison where you're going to work on the radios for the German aircraft. Gather all your belongings. You have 10 minutes. That didn't take long. Oh, send a bit. Pardon? Oh, I'm sure, sir, he did. I actually left a few crumbs for him. I was pretty much finished with those biscuits by then. Oh, and who did I see when they had all of us out into the courtyard? I saw my sister Betsy. She and I ran to each other. We said we would never be apart again. We were hugged, and they pushed us all into the cattle trucks to take us down there to that other prison camp. I was working on all those radios for the German aircraft. You better believe I made a lot of mistakes. If I had been caught, I could have been tortured or killed right there. God blinded them to see what I was doing. So there was this rumor going around, all the prisoners saying, the Allies have invaded Europe. The Allies have come in. Oh, they're going to come and free us any minute now. So we heard explosions. It was not the Allies, it was the Germans blowing up their own bridges and roads. Why do you suppose they did that? Exactly. They told us they were going to have to move us soon, and that we would be put onto railroad cars and taken to a prison in Germany. We would be taken there just as soon and get ready so that we would be shipped out. The men were on one side of the prison, the women on the other. Many of them brothers, sisters, and brother, sister, or husband, wife, or cousins, people they knew. One day, we heard shots on the men's side. Hundreds of them were shot right before we were put on those railroad cars and taken to Germany. The women went berserk. You did not know who was being killed. It could have been your husband, your brother, your father shot. But we found out that they had to dig their own graves before they were shot. We were slammed into these railroad cars, taken into Germany, and they were processing us for 2 days in the pouring rain while they were deciding who was going to go into which barracks. My sister Betsy and I were assigned a barracks, and when we went in, there were straw mattresses full of swarming fleas and lice. At this prison camp, we were told we had to here's pictures of us loading heavy metal sheets from the railroad cars onto carts, pulled up the hill to the factories all day long. And we had quotas to meet, so many sheets per day. And the guards counted and kept track of that. And as we were working, of course, you're trying to talk quietly with the other women, we found out that was not true in the barracks with the other women. We were the only ones with the barracks with the swarming lice and fleas. Oh, it's horrible, itching, them biting us constantly. But the other barracks, the German soldiers came in and bothered the women all night. They never came into our barracks. And my sister Betsy said, "Oh, Corey, thank God for the fleas and the lice." No, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. All I could do was hate the German soldiers for what they had done. I was so upset with them. I couldn't believe it. One day, my sister Betsy, she from childhood, she was kind of sickly, and she could not do her quota of sheets on there. And a guard grabbed her out of line, took his butt of his rifle and smashed her hand, and I went after him to kill him. She said, "Oh, Corey, no, Corey, you have to forgive him. There is no pit so deep. God's love is not deeper still." And I knew she was right, but I still harbored that hatred in my heart. I wanted to kill every one of them. And many of the guards had these snarling dogs. We knew that we could not get near them, or I might have tried to kill one, but it is probably just as well I did not. Well, Betsy got very, very sick. I wanted to take her to the infirmary, but nobody ever came back from the infirmary. Right beside the infirmary was a crematory that belched gray, putrid smoke day and night of the bodies they were burning. I didn't want that to happen to my sister. No, I wanted her to get well. But one night we were in our bunk, because there were 700 of us in our barracks. It was built for about 400. And so Betsy and I were sleeping on the bunk bed together there. And Betsy said, "Oh, Corey, I see the most beautiful white house, garden in the front, and when you look inside, it's got a curved wooden staircase. Corey, I think we're going to people after the war who have been hurt in this war in that very house. I thought she had a fever and was delirious. Well, time came when I knew Betsy was so sick that she had to go to the infirmary. I took her one night. It was December 1944. And I took her in and I said, oh, I will go in with my sister. I said, no, you're not. You go to your barracks. Come back in the morning. You check on your sister. Oh, I couldn't sleep that night. Not with Betsy so sick. But the next morning I went, and they still wouldn't let me go in. So I took the edge of my dress, and they said, first of all, you find your sister, you tell me where she is, and you can go in. Well, the windows were iced over. It's December in Germany, very cold. And so I rubbed first one window and looked inside, rubbed the ice off another window, and kept going till I got to the very last one. I found my sister Betsy. Her body was lying on a table with others who had died that night. No more pain and contortion in her face. No, it was the face of an angel. Peace. I knew my sister Betsy was with Jesus. I knew I would see her again. I knew she and my father were rejoicing, and my mother. They were rejoicing with Jesus. But my heart ached for her. It's like I was numb all over, and I didn't even care anymore. So I walked back to my barracks, just numb and pain of missing Betsy. 2 weeks later, 4 a.m. a roll call. I do have a picture of that up there too. We were standing outside for roll call, stomping our feet, rubbing our arms, wondering what the Germans had planned that day. Knew more and more horrors were happening. After the roll call, the guard that was doing the roll call said, "Prisoner 10, boom, report to administration." I had no idea. Maybe it was my turn for the crematory. I did not even care. My sister was gone. I didn't care. I got over to the administration office, and the clerk at the front stamped a card and handed me this card that said, "Lassen, do any of you speak German and know what this means? Or guess what it might mean? Freed, released, actually. Freed, released. I looked at it and she said, take it over here. You will get a railroad pass back to Holland. Take it over there and you will get your clothes. It was the exact dress I had come in and another outfit. And then you are to leave us immediately. Talk about being numb. I didn't understand. I went and got the railroad pass. I went and got the clothing. I walked out the door. And as I walked out the gates to that prison camp, there was like a catwalk all the way around, and the prison guards were there with the snarling dogs again. And I had to show them as I went out. I was like, wait a minute, why am I being saved? What is this all about? Is this a trick? I'm going to go outside and they're going to shoot me? What is this? No. I got on the railroad car, went back to Harlem. Oh, not the city I had left. There was hardly anything. I hardly knew anybody there. Went back to my home. Nothing was there. But a very kind nurse helped me to recuperate and get my strength back. And finally, the war was over. I think all this time I'm going, God, why did you save me? What is my purpose in life? But I found out eventually what was all about. People after the war were very curious as to what happened during the war. No communication, so they didn't know what was going on in the concentration camps. They didn't know what was happening in the towns and the cities. And so those of us who survived, they asked to come and speak. I have had the privilege of speaking all over the world about that. I have shared the miracles that I've shared with you. And at one of those speaking engagements, a lady came up to me afterwards and she said, I know you want to help people, and that's what I was doing, trying to gather money so that we could help people who were hurt so badly after the war. And she said, I have a house you can have if you want. She said, my son was released from a prison camp, and I'm so grateful. I'd be glad to donate my house to you so you can help people who are hurt during the war. Guess that's what it looked like. Just like what Betsy saw. Big, beautiful White House garden out front. Inside was that curved wooden staircase, just perfect for helping people. I staff of nurses, doctors, pastors, because they need to hear the good news about Jesus so they can be free. And also psychologists to help people think through and understand and be able to change their lives. The most difficult time I ever had was in Germany at a speaking engagement. The room was full, no seats at all, people standing all around the walls. And back in the back was a man I recognized. He was one of the cruelest guards at Ravensbrück concentration camp. I still hated him. I still wanted to go kill him. But I knew that would be wrong. And at the end, when people were leaving, he started walking towards me. Tears rolling down his face, saying, Corey, I'm so sorry. Corey, forgive me. He stretched out his hand for me to shake his hand. I did not want to shake his hand. I didn't want to see him. I just wanted to kill him. But as I was thinking that, I knew the sin involved with that. I saw how wrong that was. And in my heart, I said, God, if you want me to forgive this man, you're going to have to give me the strength, because I do not have that strength to do that. And just as he got to me, I stretched out my hand and said, I forgive you. It may have been the hardest thing. It may have been the hardest thing I ever did. But I was free. That burden of hatred was gone. And so I haven't told you my story today for you to hate any group of people, but so you can see that hatred between former enemies can be given. If God tells you to forgive someone, we cannot do it in our own flesh. We have to have him. If he tells you to forgive someone, he will give you the strength to do it. Is that amazing? More miracle. I discovered my hatred was not for the Nazis. It was for what they had done. And when I forgave them for what they had done, and I saw that Jesus Christ died for me and that man, how could I do anything else? How could I ask anything thing is. I saw that my sin was the hatred. When I asked for forgiveness and I forgave him, I was free. It was like 100 pounds taken off my shoulders. Oh, if you have anything against any person, you can be free of it too. You can be released. You can have that burden gone from you because we have the ability to use God's power for forgiveness. And how do you know that? Because you can always trust your unknown future to your known God. And now before I go and speak and raise money for that lovely home where people are helped, do you have questions for me? Yeah? No, my family and I were Christians. No, we loved the Jews. We would, and some people have said, now the Jews that come into your house during the war, you converted them to Christianity. No, we showed them God's love. Some of them did convert to Christianity, but a lot of them did not. And we trust them to God. We know that He has a plan and purpose for their lives. And He will bring it about when it is in His plan and His timing. Yeah? After the board was over, maybe about 10 years, I decided with people wanting me to speak about it, they probably would like to read a book. So I wrote a book called The Hiding Place, that talking about the angel room. I've written several other books. And then some people in California wanted to make a movie called The Hiding Place. So they had me move to California. May I say that there are a lot of strange people in California. But they wanted the movie to be very accurate. And so I moved there so that I could help them. The person who wrote the screenplay, as well as watching every aspect of the movie being made so that it would be accurate, so that God would be glorified. And I have heard that people who watch that movie have come to know Him as their personal personal Savior. Others have written, I have received hundreds of letters saying, now I can forgive. Oh, that does my heart such good. They are just give me the strength to go on. Even as an old lady, I am able to do that. Other questions?
Medicine never ran out.
Yeah, I actually have a little vial of that with me, but sometimes I know I need to be careful of time.
Okay.
And yeah, I have kept the, oops, I think I've kept the vial. Where? It might not be with me today. Yes, these special medicine and vitamin combination for Betsy, with her getting sick all the time. Well, the people in the concentration camp in Ravensbrück, they were sick too. And so I gave out drops of this medicine to those who were sick and to Betsy. And I believe that's why she was able to stay alive as long as she did. And the vial never ran out. Miracle after miracle after miracle. God is so good. Other questions? I think I heard somebody a minute ago. Yeah. I don't believe so. There are a lot of us around. Really, it's now 1979. So.
Remind me of her.
I do not know her. But I would love to meet her someday, and perhaps our paths will cross. Was there another one? Do I see another hand? Bless you. Thank you. So, yeah? Yeah? Yeah.
Your situation.
I do not know Anne. Maybe I'll meet her with her friend.
Her father owned a business. Her sister. And her father associated them. The family give them
Oh, there were many people who hid the Jews and many Jews who did hide and some were found and some were not. I do not understand why some were and some were not. It is all in God's hands.
And the same thing.
Released 1979. I'm not sure.
Talking.
Can you see to the future?
Yeah.
This lady can see into the future.
Yeah. Right.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
I didn't see how it could get any better after we had Hannah, but that was really, really interesting. I'm supposed to read this after. Corey Ten Boom had a series of strokes that left her unable to speak for almost 5 years. She passed away on April 15th, 1983. I'm sorry, I get out of breath. On her 91st birthday. Whew, out of breath. Just climbing this. Ooh. Yeah, I gotta sit down. Now we would like for Sherry to come and sing. Why don't we get out of breath like that? Okay. Okay.
Hi, everybody. I think we have been so blessed by the Corey Ten Boom and Hannah. I think it was wonderful, both stories. It may be a little louder because that first song was my trial. Oh, Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds the hands have made. I see the sun, I hear the rolling thunder. Thy power throughout the universe display. sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation, and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration, and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art. Thank you. Well, we're going to sing some songs again. So you all want to stand? What a day that will be. Yes. clouds in the sky. No more tears to dim the eye. All is peace forevermore on that happy golden shore. What a day, glorious day that will be. That will be when my Jesus I shall see, and I love the one who saves, the one who saves me by His grace, and He takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. Okay. All of you got your cards all filled out. You go back and get a gift, and then we'll sing another song. And hurry quickly. Do it quickly. If you want anything else off the table, you got about 3 minutes. Okay, time's up, ladies. Yeah. I'll make it short though. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. No one join me till I will follow. No one join me. I still will follow. No one join me. I still will follow. No turning back. No turning back. Okay, I've got a. Wait, go down. Sit. Yes. Go through. Go through. Everybody get their seats. I'm going to wind this down. I'll make it short. But it's called The Room. And it's somewhat my testimony of times past and days long ago. But I'm going to just tell you about it. So after you all get seated. It was late in the evening and the sun was going down. I'd had a real busy day. And I went into my living room, and I have a nice, easy chair that I sat in. And I kicked my feet back, and, just relaxing. And all at once, I found myself in this place. Some people might call it a twilight zone, but it was between wakefulness and dreams. And I seen this large door. And I looked at this door, and it led into this vast room. And in this room, I walked through the door, and I looked all around, and there were books from the floor to the ceiling. I'd never seen anything like this before in my life. I'd been in many libraries, but this room was lifeless. And all at once, I see names on these books. And some of them I recognized. And as I ventured on down this long corridor, I pulled out a book of a name I recognized. But it was still it would not open. So, strangely, I put it back. Still curious, walked on down. I seen another name of someone I recognized. And I pulled that book out. It was the same way, sealed. I couldn't open it. Then I went on down a little farther, and lo and behold, I seen a book, and it had Anna Todd. That's my name. I pulled the book down, and it opened. And fear gripped my heart. I mean, I was literally afraid. But I looked down at this first page, and fear and horror gripped me when I seen the words, lies that I had told. I thought, what kind of book is this? Lies that I had told? Well, I just thought they were fibs or little white lies. But nevertheless, they were all in this book. Detail after detail. The tears, they started to flow. And then, not only lies, I came to another page, and it said words. Words? Idle words. Unkind words. Words spoken in anger. Words muttered underneath my breath. Maybe about somebody else, the way they dressed, or looked, or something about them that I just didn't care about. Nevertheless, these words were all listed. Words that I had said to my mother unkindly. And then the words that really stuck out most of all was the times that I had used God's name flippantly. Maybe saying, oh God. Never thinking about who he really was. It was there. Boy, tears really started to flow. Then I looked again, and there was gossip. Gossip. I didn't consider myself a gossiper. But people like to tell you stuff, and then you like to repeat. Time it gets around, it's twice as big as it was when it started. It was all there. And then there was hateful words. Words that I'd spoken to strangers, maybe. When I got disturbed about something not going my way in a store. And then there was jealousy. Me jealous? I had everything my heart could do. Why would I be jealous of anything? Envy? Selfishness? Then came to the books I had read. TV shows I had watched. Things that I had looked at that my eyes should have never seen. Things that I heard with my ears that the ears should have never heard. Then it went on. There was excuses. Excuses for not doing what I should do about God and about going to church. Making excuses, neglecting God's word. All of these things were recorded on this page. I felt sick, utterly defeated, and so broken. We don't have time to do all these things. Is this really me? Is this the true me? Well, I wanted to destroy these pages. I didn't want anybody seeing them. And I tried to tear them out. I thought, I'll tear this book up. I don't want nobody looking at it. But these pages were as steel. They would not tear, they would not bend. And I began to panic then. I don't want anybody looking at this. Defeated and utterly helpless, I laid this book down. Then all at once, I picked it back up. And it opened up. And there it was. People that I had shared the gospel with. Some good things that I had done for others. But the list was a lot smaller than the other list. But then all at once I heard a stir. And I looked around and I said, oh, no, not him. Not Jesus. I don't want him looking at this stuff. I don't want him seeing this. And I tried to hide the book. But he came. He didn't say a word. He could have said so much to me and condemned me, but he didn't say a word. He just put his arm on my shoulder and cried with me. Then all at once, he opened up the book. There it was. The deepest, richest red I ever saw. And it was over every sin that I had ever committed. And I felt so relieved. But then all this burden of my sin he'd taken, and I had failed him so much. Past, present, and future sins all gone. He'd put them under his blood. And I felt so relieved and loved, but yet so grieved and so sorry that I had neglected him so and failed him so and did not